We're talking about Bowblax, a.k.a. Josh Christians, and the wild ride he's been on lately. For those of you who might be out of the loop, Bowblax is a YouTuber known for his reaction videos and his line of plushies called Blobies.
He's also become a bit of a, shall we say, focal point for the online forum Kiwi Farms.
Right on Kiwi Farms, for those who haven't experienced its unique charm, is a website where users discuss, well, pretty much anything and everything.
Often with a focus on internet personalities and subcultures.
And let's just say their approach to commentary is a little less than delicate. They're not afraid to, tell it like it is, even if it happens to be incredibly offensive or insensitive.
Indeed, they've developed quite a reputation for their, shall we say, unfiltered and often controversial discussions.
So where does Bowblax fit into all of this? Well, it seems like he's been having a bit of a tough time lately, both with his content and with his personal life choices.
His attempts to emulate the popular daily dose of internet format hasn't exactly been met with critical acclaim.
Yeah, critics are calling his videos lazy, unoriginal, and about as exciting as watching paint dry. Ouch.
His viewership has been declining despite his attempts to boost his search engine optimization by rather awkwardly including his own name in video titles.
It's like he's trying to trick the Google man. Not a good look.
And then there's the whole Bloby debacle. These pluggies, which were supposed to be his big merch launch, ended up being more of a meme than a successful product. Even Keemstar, the infamous YouTuber, got in on the action, seemingly buying a bunch of them out of pity.
Yeah, not exactly the kind of publicity you want when you're trying to build a brand.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any more cringeworthy, a photo of Bowblax wearing a dress surfaced online.
Oh yeah, that's right. I almost forgot about that.
It appears that a former editor of his Connor X8 somehow obtained this photo and shared it within what's being referred to as the commentary community.
Commentary community, is that what the kids are calling it these days?
It seems to be a loose network of YouTubers and online personalities who focus on, well, commenting on various internet-related topics.
Ah, okay. So back to the photo. A picture of Bowblax in a dress.
I mean, hey,
Live and let live, right? But it's safe to say that this image has become a bit of a talking point on Kiwi Farms.
the users there have been quite vocal in their opinions about the photo. Let's just say they haven't been exactly shy about expressing their amusement.
Amusement, more like they're roasting him harder than a Thanksgiving turkey. But hey, that's Kiwi Farms for you. They're not exactly known for their sensitivity.
That's putting it mildly. But before we delve further into the Kiwi Farm side of things, let's take a closer look at some of the other challenges Bowblax has been facing. His content struggles, for example, seem to go beyond just the daily dose of internet imitations.
Yeah, he's been trying all sorts of stuff to get those views up, but nothing seems to be working. It's like he's throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks.
One of the main criticisms is that his videos lack a clear focus or direction. He jumps from topic to topic, often without much depth or insight.
It's like he's just trying to cram as much stuff into a video as possible without any real thought or planning. Quantity over quality, man. Not a good strategy.
And his attempts at humor often fall flat, coming across as forced or awkward.
Yeah, he's like that dad who tries to use slang but ends up sounding totally cringy.
His overall presentation also leaves much to be desired. His editing is often choppy, his audio quality is inconsistent, and his on-camera persona lacks the charisma and energy that viewers are drawn to.
It's like he's just not putting in the effort. You know, he's got the talent and the resources, but he's just not using them effectively.
It's possible he simply lost his passion for content creation, or perhaps he's struggling to adapt to the ever-changing landscape of online entertainment.
Yeah, the internet's a fickle beast, man. What's hot today is old news tomorrow.
Indeed. And speaking of hot topics, let's circle back to that leaked photo and the reaction it's garnered, particularly on Kiwi Farms.
Oh yeah, that photo. The one where Bowblax is rocking that unique fashion choice.
Yes, that one. As we mentioned, Kiwi Farms is known for its, shall we say, unconventional approach to commentary. And in this case, they've certainly lived up to their reputation.
They're having field day with this, aren't they?
I mean,
I get it, the photo's kind of out there, but still, some of the comments are pretty brutal.
It's important to remember that Kiwi Farms operates within a very specific online subculture, one that often embraces irony, shock value, and a disregard for traditional social norms.
Yeah, so basically there are a bunch of trolls who think they're being edgy and funny.
That's a rather simplistic assessment, but there's certainly an element of that to their behavior. They thrive on controversy, on pushing boundaries, on provoking reactions.
And Bowblax, with his declining viewership, his questionable merch choices, and now this well, interesting photo has become their latest target.
It seems so. He fits their archetype of what they call a lolcow.
A lolcow. What's that? Some kind of internet slang I'm too old to understand.
Essentially, it's a term they use to describe individuals they perceive as being easily provoked or exploited for entertainment.
So basically someone they can poke fun at and get a rise out of.
In a nutshell, yes. And unfortunately, it seems Bowblax has become their latest source of amusement.
Well, that's not very nice.
Indeed. It's important to acknowledge that Kiwi Farms has been linked to numerous cases of online harassment, doxing, and even real-world stalking. Their actions can have serious consequences for their targets, both online and offline.
That's pretty messed up. So why isn't anyone doing anything about it?
That's a complex question. Kiwi Farms operates in a legal gray area, often skirting the boundaries of free speech and exploiting loopholes in online regulations.
So they're basically untouchable.
Not entirely. There have been attempts to deplatform them to shut them down, but they've proven to be quite resilient.
Like a cockroach, you can't seem to get rid of them.
An apt analogy. But that doesn't mean we have to condone their behavior. We can choose to ignore them, to not give them our attention or our clicks.
Scarve the trolls, right?
Precisely.
Well.
We can also speak out against their tactics, call out their hypocrisy, and expose their cruelty.
Shine a light on the darkness, make them accountable for their actions. I like it.
And perhaps most importantly, we can offer support to those who have been targeted by them. Let them know they're not alone, that they don't deserve this kind of treatment, and that there are people who care.
Spread the love, counter the hate. That's what the internet should be about.
Indeed. It's about connection, community, and shared experiences, not about tearing people down for entertainment.
But where does that leave Bowblax? He's kind of in a tough spot, isn't he?
He certainly faces a difficult road ahead. His content is struggling, his online reputation has taken a hit, and he's become a focal point for a particularly relentless online community.
It's like he's fighting a losing battle on multiple fronts.
However, he does have options. He can choose to engage with his critics to try to win them over or to ignore them completely. He can focus on improving his content, on finding his voice, on reconnecting with his audience.
It's like a choose-your-own-adventure internet style.
In a way, yes.
Wow.
He has the power to shape his own narrative, to decide how he wants to be perceived, and to ultimately control his own destiny.
Well, I hope he chooses wisely. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of his content, but I wouldn't wish this kind of online harassment on anyone. It's just not cool.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that behind every username, every avatar, every online persona is a real person with real feelings.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that sometimes in the digital world. It's like we dehumanize each other without even realizing it.
A valid point. The internet can be a powerful tool for connection and communication, but it can also be a breeding ground for negativity and cruelty. It's up to each of us to decide how we want to use it, how we want to interact with others, and what kind of online world we want to create.
Deep thoughts, man. Deep thoughts. But you know what else is deep? The rabbit hole that is Kiwi Farms.
Yes, Kiwi Farms. We've touched upon their tactics and their impact, but there's still much to unpack.
Like, how do they choose their targets? What makes someone a lolcow in their eyes? And what's the psychology behind this kind of relentless online bullying?
Those are all excellent questions, and ones that we'll delve into in this final part of our deep dive. It's certainly a fascinating, albeit somewhat disturbing aspect of internet culture.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I'm kind of morbidly curious about how these Kiwi Farms folks operate. It's like peeking behind the curtain of a digital freak show.
Well, let's try to approach this with a bit more nuance than that. While their methods are often reprehensible, understanding their motivations can help us better combat this kind of online toxicity.
Okay, fair enough. So let's start with the basics. How do they choose their targets? What makes someone a prime lolcow in their eyes?
It seems they're drawn to individuals who exhibit certain traits or behaviors that they find, shall we say, entertaining. This could include anything from social awkwardness and unconventional beliefs to over-the-top emotional reactions and public meltdowns.
So basically anyone who's a little bit different, a little bit outside the norm.
In a sense, yes. They often target those who don't conform to societal expectations, those who stand out from the crowd, those who are, in their view, easy targets.
And it's not just about making fun of them, right? They actually try to provoke these people to get them to react, to make them even more of a spectacle.
That seems to be part of their modus operandi. They thrive on drama, on conflict, on seeing people lose their composure. They'll often go to great lengths to elicit a reaction from their targets using a variety of tactics, including insults, threats, and even doxing.
Doxing. That's where they reveal someone's personal information online, right?
Precisely. It's a highly invasive and potentially dangerous tactic, and one that Kiwi Farms has been known to employ quite liberally. They'll often publish someone's home address, phone number, and other sensitive information, putting their targets at risk of real-world harassment and even violence.
That's seriously messed up. So what's the psychology behind this kind of behavior? Are these people just like sadists who get off on making others miserable?
It's not quite as simple as that. While there's certainly an element of cruelty and malice involved, there are also deeper psychological factors at play. For example, many of these individuals may feel powerless or marginalized in their own lives, and they find a sense of validation and control by targeting others online.
So it's like they're projecting their own insecurities and frustrations onto these locals.
That's one possible explanation. They may also derive a sense of belonging and community from participating in these online mobs. It's a way for them to connect with others who share their views, to reinforce their biases, and to feel like they're part of something larger than themselves.
It's like a twisted version of a support group, except instead of helping each other, they're all just ganging up on someone else.
An apt analogy, though, a rather disturbing one. It's important to remember that these individuals are often operating from a place of deep-seated anger, resentment, and insecurity. Their actions may seem irrational and even incomprehensible to outsiders, but to them, they make perfect sense.
So what can we do about it? How can we combat this kind of online toxicity and protect those who are being targeted?
Well, as we discussed earlier, we can choose to not engage with these communities, to not give them our attention or our clicks. We can also speak out against their behavior, challenge their assumptions, and expose their tactics. And we can offer support to those who have been targeted, letting them know they're not alone and that there are people who care.
And what about the platforms themselves? Can they do more to crack down on this kind of harassment?
Absolutely. Social media companies have a responsibility to create safer online environments for their users. They need to implement stronger policies against harassment, doxing, and other forms of abuse, and they need to enforce those policies consistently and fairly. They also need to provide better resources and support for those who have been targeted, including reporting mechanisms, counseling services, and legal assistance.
It sounds like there's a lot of work to be done, but it's important work, right? We can't just let these trolls run rampant and ruin people's lives.
Indeed. We have a collective responsibility to create a more ethical and empathetic online world, one where people feel safe to express themselves without fear of harassment or abuse. It's a challenging task, but it's one that we must undertake if we want the internet to truly live up to its potential as a force for good.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. It's been a wild ride full of twists and turns, and I hope you've all learned something along the way.
I concur. It's been an enlightening, albeit somewhat sobering exploration of a particularly complex and concerning aspect of online culture.
So until next time, stay rad, and remember to keep it real in the digital jungle.
Peace out.